There's suspense in the air in Los Angeles today. 3 behind-the-scenes moves could reshape the offense. A national analysis put our defense in a spot that's going to rattle a lot of people, and a tactical detail from the new offensive coordinator is set to shake up the hierarchy in our receivers room. Oh, and a medical update changes the tone for the debut in Brazil. Who's ready to prove lightning strikes twice in the same place? You won't believe what we've got today. So take a seat, drop a like, and let's dive straight into the news. Ready for the plot twist? It starts with a whisper that crossed the entire coast. What if the Chargers' offense added a big, physical, nasty target on third downs? The kind of player who moves the chains by sheer will. Think of a receiver who doesn't flinch from contact, who blocks like a tight end, and who was forged on the biggest stages. Now add that to the hunger of a roster that wants to finish drives in the end zone and protect the ball in the most critical possessions. Tempting, isn't it? That's exactly where the speculation is born that the prompt came from a Bleacher Report list by Christopher Knox projecting potential trade chips throughout the year. He floated LA as a plausible destination with a package involving mid-round picks, a 2026 fifth and a 2027 fourth. Is that pricey for a good, not great receiver? To many, yes. Some even argue a fourth rounder alone should get it done if San Francisco even picks up the phone. Here's the context. Jennings is in the final year of a hefty contract and wants a new deal after the best season of his career. There's been noise about frustration and even talk of a trade request, but GM John Lynch has made it clear he doesn't intend to move him, and Jennings' return to practice signals he won't sit out. The Niners have real issues in their WR group and, practically speaking, little motivation to part with a reliable short-area, high-leverage route runner. On our side, the math is delicate. Keenan Allen is back and rounds out a core that still includes Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, and rookie Trey Harris. On paper, we're set with that quartet, but no one ignores the uncertainties. Veteran health, young players' adaptation, and the simple reality that the AFC doesn't forgive offenses that can't convert third and short. Jennings would bring late separation over the middle, physicality in the red zone, and an essential boost to the run game, perimeter blocking for wide zone, toss, and power read. Even so, price is destiny. 2 picks for a complimentary WR who would likely demand an extension would ripple into the 2026 cap and our ability to reinforce elsewhere. The fan base is split. One side loves the idea of a closer on third down, the other wants to preserve capital for pass rush and the offensive line. What's the right bar? Maybe October will tell. If injuries hit our room or third down efficiency dips, the conversation returns at the trade deadline. If the group performs, patience sets the tone. Under Greg Roman's baton, he loves heavy sets, bunch, and stacks to create legal traffic. This profile of wideout unlocks concepts like slant, flat, dagger, and whip into tight windows. It helps Herbert get on schedule, trims long reads on critical downs, and opens explosive play action when defenses drop a safety into the box to respect the run. In playoff games, that detail often swings a one-possession result. And that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. There are rankings that make you raise an eyebrow, right? Seeing the Chargers outside the top 5 on defense after what we did in 2024 almost feels like provocation. Fewest points allowed in the league, 7th best pass defense, and still just an honorable mention. The rationale: our Achilles heel against the run, 4.7 yards per carry, 27th. A number that screams, and for national critics it caps any claim to greatness. But is it fair to reduce an entire system to that one detail? Let's be honest, Minter kept the core, Mack is back even on a short deal, and names like Tuli Tuipulotu promise a leap that can turn pressure into terror. Dante Jackson's arrival, a leader in interceptions, not only reorganizes the secondary but forms an underrated duo with Tarheeb Still. Add in Cam Hart's natural progression, the line's depth, and a front 7 that still hits with power, and the equation changes. No wonder part of the fan base reacted with irony to the ranking. If this is honorable mention, I can't wait to see what they call elite. There is another side too, the more skeptical fans who pound the drum for consistency against the run. Until we fix that hole, we'll always hear we're incomplete, they say, and that argument matters because the playoffs belong to teams that can bleed the clock on the ground. That's why the Deshaun Hand signing flies under the radar for some, but could be the detail that tips the scale. 5 tackles for loss in 2024 won't make headlines, but on short downs, they're gold. In the end, the ranking might even be useful. It becomes fuel. It becomes that chip on the shoulder defenders love to carry to show that numbers don't tell the whole story. When national voices doubt, the locker room tightens up even more. The AFC is loaded with explosive offenses, but if Los Angeles repeats the discipline against the pass and shaves a yard here, a yard there against the run, the elite conversation returns on its own. And then a lot of analysts will be biting their tongues. But hold up, because what comes next is even more unbelievable. Some things you can't measure with rankings, stats, or charts. The locker room chemistry, its on-field fit, its timing that flips an entire season. And that's exactly what showed up when Greg Roman opened up about our receivers' dynamics. Keenan Allen returned like he never left, while Ladd McConkey already cemented himself as essential. And here comes the question every fan wrestles with. How do you fit two players who shine in the slot without dimming anyone's light? Roman didn't dodge it. In his calculated way, he hinted that Allen and McConkey will split snaps, sometimes together, sometimes alternating. There's no luxury problem, there's an opportunity to create mismatches. He went further, praising Allen almost poetically, slapping an A-pun on how fast he absorbed the playbook and the immediate impact in practice. The veteran brought experience, communication, vision, everything that multiplies talent in a young room. And if his voice already inspires confidence, his legs still have juice to rotate without a drop-off. Preseason numbers tell part of the story. McConkey took every snap with Herbert against the Rams, while Allen played 5, focused on passing downs. Johnston was also a starter before the concussion, and that already makes it clear. The plan is to use the rookie and McConkey as the base, with Allen entering in high-impact situations. Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith are on the outside looking in for now, but they'll inevitably have roles in specific packages, as will Darius Davis when speed is the strategic weapon. Here's where Roman's mind kicks in. He never reveals systems in advance, but his track record is clear. He loves to overload defenses with bunch, motion, and multiple formations. With two versatile slot types, he can show an inside zone look and rip a seam route, use legal picks on quick slants, rotate releases to create space on the perimeter. The defense won't know whether to leave Allen one-on-one, double McConkey, or pray the pass rush gets home before the separation. Herbert, in turn, gets that extra fraction of a second, enough to turn 3rd and 7 into a 15-yard gain. Of course, there are risks. Too much rotation can mess with rhythm, and fans are already asking, is it worth using a guy like Allen only in packages? Others argue that keeping him fresh stretches his season and avoids the late December dip. The debate is hot, and Brazil will host the first real sample. Chiefs up next, new audience, global expectations. Who shines brighter, the turbocharged rookie or the old pro who knows exactly where to go when the ball burns? And while we're freaking out about that, there's still a health update that could turn into a flashing red alert. Here comes the moment that freezes every fan's heart, the first official injury report of the season. And luckily for us, the list starts lean. Only 2 names showed up, but that's still enough to give you that knot in the stomach. Najee Harris and Elijah Molden, 2 important pieces, 2 very different contexts, and an impact that could weigh more than it looks on paper. With Harris, the surprise was positive. Even after missing a considerable chunk of prep time, he showed up as a full participant in practice. It's almost unbelievable. Just over 2 weeks of work, and he's already cleared to tote the rock on Friday Night Football against the Chiefs in the Brazil opener. For an offense betting on Roman's balance, having a healthy power back is a present. Still, the sharper fans remember his recent history isn't simple, and the word caution should accompany every snap. Pushing tempo now can cost you in December. Molden, meanwhile, casts a more worrying shadow. Limited by a knee issue since the end of last season, his partial participation reopens the conversation about depth in the secondary. If Dante Jackson is the pillar, the safety rotation needs stability. Without Molden at 100%, Derwin James's burden grows, which completely changes the tactical picture in nickel and dime packages. That's exactly the kind of detail that against offenses like Kansas City's can cost a possession, and one possession in the AFC is often the difference between a bye and a wild card. The fan base responded with cautious relief. If it's just this, we're fine. But many also note that early season reports tend to be deceptively light. NFL history shows that lists can double in a week. That's why this clean start needs to be valued without dropping our guard. On the international stage, Brazil will see whether this team is truly intact enough to prove it can contend. So here's the provocation. Are we ready to take on the season with this level of dependence on the starter's health? Or is this just the first warning that roster depth will be tested sooner than expected? One thing's certain, the ball is about to fly. Eyes will be glued to the screen, and Chargers Nation already has its heart racing. So take a breath, Chargers Nation. Today we talked market opportunity, on-field respect, and offensive strategy, with health under the microscope. If a Jennings move becomes real at the deadline, it's because performance and needs screamed for it. If the defense turns every yard into pride, the rankings will play catch-up. If Roman balances McConkey, Allen, and Johnston, Herbert wins the clock. And if Harris and Molden are ready, Brazil will see a complete team. Now it's your turn. Which decision changes our season? Trade for a receiver, tighten up the run defense, rotate in the slot, or manage snaps? Drop a comment, subscribe, and share.